everybody, and welcome to Minute to Skim It, our weekly review show here on The Experience. We do have two of us. We're just going to take us in turns. It's just the way it's going to work out this week. There are so many stinking books. We're at a hard time finishing them up right before the show because there is some just mind-bogglingly good tales that are coming out all at the same time. A bunch of number ones, some follow-up series, end of giant story arcs, and second prints and third prints of things that you absolutely must have. So let's get to it. I'm going to start with Amazing Spider-Man number 74, which finishes up the Kindred storyline that's been going on for, 3 years, I think now. It's amazing, and it doesn't just have this main storyline, which, look at that cute picture. It doesn't just have that main storyline wrapping up, but it also has at least 2 follow-up stories, including a quick history of Spider-Man done in like Scotty Young cartoon style. But the main storyline finishes up with all of the interaction that's been going on for a long time. That like conflict between Harry, the showing up of his dad again, this weird storyline that they had basically saying that Gwen and Harry had kids, and the kids were involved, and they were the ones attacking Pete. All that stuff shakes out. So you figure out exactly what really was going on for all of those things. You'll figure out who Kindred is, and that's kind of a big twist too. And it turns out that at the very end to be a very happy story, which is weird because everything else about this block of storyline has been so stinking dark. But it also leaves it hanging that at any time this part of it can start all over again. It doesn't resolve very many of the bad guy issues that we've been having. So I like it when it leaves it going because, you can never really kill a hero or a villain. No one ever really dies. And if they do die, there's a clone to come and take their place. So it's a huge, thick book. They're a $10 book. And they have a lot of really beautiful covers, but just know it's the end of a big, gigantic storyline. It's a culmination of a bunch of stuff that's been going on. It's a good place to even just catch up if you didn't know and you wanted to kind of, get at the end of something so you know where that hero is in his hero journey going forward. So, yes, it's fun because when they do these kind of big story arcs where it looks like it finishes, but then they go back and touch on it again, you kind of feel robbed, right? You're like, well, you finished the thing, and now what you're telling me is that storyline didn't mean anything, right? There was no implications to the story. But you're right, I do like it when they don't close it off, they leave it open for you. All right, this book I'm going to review doesn't actually release this week. Bum, bum, bum. I'm going to give you an extra early review of this book. This one's called Out, and it is by AWA Upshot, and it is coming out, I believe it's got to be next week. But this is a crazy cool concept. So this one actually happens during wartime. It's basically, I know, ironically, not out this week. And the people that are the main characters in this are actually prisoners of war being taken to their, I don't know, it kind of feels like when they get there, it's not Auschwitz or something like that, but it feels really close, right? That kind of like foreboding, everyone might die. But in this case, they've gotten to the part where they've been captured as soldiers, so they have a choice. They can do what they're supposed to do, which is try to escape, which many of them have done before. They actually say it, that they have experience escaping out, or they can kind of like lay back and wait for the war to end and let that all shake out. But there's another storyline that's going on. So this fellow who's the main character right here, he is been brought on board just like the spirit talkers did in the real war to, they know lots of languages and you can use them to code break or to create codes that are unbreakable. And this character looks like he has been kind of like at odds with all of his fellow soldiers for a long time because he can speak German and other languages that they don't think that he should be speaking. They don't trust him. They think he's a spy. Now, take that cool storyline about, people wanting to, they're prisoners of war, want to escape, maybe they won't, and put behind it a tale of that the Germans have dug up an ancient evil that they want to use for their own purposes. So they're at the tail end of the war when they get real desperate. I'm sure you guys have watched all the documentaries that are out there where like they, tried alien technologies and, super dark magic and all those things. They really were trying anything they could to not lose the war. So in this one, there's a very specific creature that they are trying to resurrect to use. And this character is going to be super key in the tale, mostly because of his skill set. So I'm pretty sure you guys can figure out what ancient evil that has, fangs that's on this front cover here. It's awesome. I'm glad I got to read it early. You guys should go and put it on your pull list. Remember, comicshoplocator.com is a great place to find a comic book store near you if you recently moved to somewhere new or if you're on vacation. So you get the cool stuff. All right. Also, Night of the Cadillacs. This one may or may not be this actual release week, but since we get our stuff directly from Scout, the release days are super fuzzy to us. But I did actually talk to the head honcho in charge of this book this week. You can watch the interview here on The Experience. It's we did it on our Talking Shop show yesterday on Monday. So this one is way cool. So imagine that the fellow is kind of control of figuring out the storyline is himself part of the culture of LA. So he's a Hollywood guy. He's always been in the Hollywood groups. The stories that he told us during the interview about who he knew and when is like mind blowing. But this book is really neat because he has a unique connection to that area. He knows like the specific kind of like gangs and clubs and those kinds of things that exist out there and what they look like. Like you would have very specific gangs that are around the skate parks and those kinds of things. So this is like all the different cultures of LA put together. All of them have their own unique like look and style. So you've got all those guys as bad guys in this book, okay? And this girl is super important to their lives. So it looks like all of the different gangs are trying to get her and kidnap her, for lack of a better term. And she has no idea why. But if you've read any of the pitch for the series, you know that it's because she has a genetic past that is linked to them. And that they as humans isn't necessarily what's going on. So they are non-humans, we'll just say. And so it's kind of, I just really like it. I haven't read anything like it. When you've read a million tales with fanged beasties, you get a little tired of them, but it's so different. It's awesome and a half. So this one is a cool Dark Horse book that, I don't know, it has some themes that you've seen before. So this one's called Children of the Plague. This is just a straight up one shot, so you're not going to see anything beyond this one. But this is, I think she probably has a name, but she has 13 on her. She's basically we'll just say a gladiator, because it's the best thing I can equate her to. She's a fighter, and she has nanites in her blood that allow her to heal. So though she herself is an amazing fighter, if she doesn't have the nanites to form weapons with or to heal herself, she doesn't really do very well. So in that way, the theme, mood, and tone is like Bloodshot, right? Because Bloodshot's got nanites that help him heal. But this one has a twist in that she has, you kind of see in flashbacks that she has a brother. And their lives re-intersect after being separated for a really long time. It's hence the name Children of the Plague instead of Child of the Plague. So this one's cool. It has a really neat art style. Honestly, if you want to know what I think it looks like a lot like Flux, those kinds of really angular faces. And they're like weird, I don't know. They have like flock of seagulls hair. Explain it. It looks like flock of seagulls hair to me. But it's really cool too. All right. This is something I've been super excited about. So excited, you guys have no idea. Okay, so I will tell you a tale. About 3 years ago, Aaron Douglas and Joe Pruitt came to the store to help some of my customers who had lost everything in Hurricane Harvey to deal emotionally with their loss by giving them something positive they could not otherwise have, something they knew it could never replace the things that they lost, but something to distract their minds from the fact that they were having to replace everything. Okay. So Aaron Douglas, you know him from Battlestar Galactica as Chief Galen Terrell. So, and many other, he's played a million roles, but that's what most people know him from, is Chief from BSG. And Joe Pruitt is the publisher from Aftershock. So they'll give you a frame of reference for them. And while they were here, I remember Aaron telling this story that he was kind of like, you can't tell anybody, but I'm thinking about doing a thing. Right? So that's not his voice, by the way. That's horrible. That's not anything like he sounds. I'm sorry, Aaron. That was bad. That's not even close. Aaron's got smooth, dulcet tones. So 10 years to death. I know what it is, but I can't tell you that. So I'm going to tell you what the book presents itself as being. Okay. So the book opens in a prison with a shooting. Okay. So you're like, why is there a gun in prison? Well, then it takes you back and tells you some more of the story. And what it really says is that this is the story that was relayed to a young boy who just happened to be home at his house when his uncle came home, who worked at the prison and had experienced something super traumatic there that he could not explain, but felt like he needed to share. Now, of course, he's sharing it with what looks like a 10-year-old boy and sharing beer with him. So I don't know. It might have been like a really interesting situation. But the story that he shares and that is portrayed in this book is super freaky. So for fans of like true ghost stories or true crime, would like this book for sure. And this is a big one shot, so you're not going to get any more than what's in here, right? So you get to the beginning, middle, and end in this story. So it's an easy consumption. So you just buy this one book, you'll have all of it. Oh, I love this. Here, the pitch on the back. Yeah, you should be pumped. You will love it. It says inspired by a bone-chilling true story, which I know the truth about. So I can tell you this part. It's a newly hired prison guard. It's not the uncle in the story. This is somebody else. A notorious mass murderer, finally incarcerated for their crimes, and a death that binds them together. So it's all the way creepy. We were just having a discussion before we started today about how many of these books are so scary this week. There wasn't anything, because Hannah, as you know, does not like scary books or dark books or like murdery books or those kinds of things. She like the gore. No gore, and she likes uplifting ones. I tried my daggum hardest to give her.
Scary is fine.
Oh, scary's okay. Okay.
Scary, but if there's gore, that's where I'm just like, no, I don't like that.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. There's only 2, so.
All right, there are 2 books I did not get to read today, just mostly because I was some of these books are incredibly long. Like the Amazing Spider-Man, so worth the $10 because it's like, you know, a novel. Night of the Cadillacs is a lot to read. 10 Years to Death is a huge book. There's a bunch of them up here. They're so worth the money.
Corset's huge.
Corset's also big. That's right.
So pretty though.
All right, and so I'm just going to mention these so you don't miss them because I hear there's big stuff going on in them. Something is Killing the Children, number 20 drops this week. Not to be missed, of course, because we're getting really close. Soon is the release of the House of Slaughter, which focuses in on the place that trains the main character, or where her kind come from. I don't know. Her order. Hey, Matt Cole, we're going to get to your book. Don't worry. So Hannah read your book. So we're going to totally, when she comes on, she'll talk about it, and then we'll ask Totally. You should totally join in and chat. All right, this one is Berserker number 5, another book that I did not get to read just because of time, but I did not want you to miss it. I do want you to know that there is recently from, I think it was the Today Show, where Keanu came on and pitched again, like, you should go find Berserker, the comic book, which is just stunningly awesome because, you know, there's a lot of people that are famous movie stars and musicians and whatever that have worked on comic books before and been tied to them. But I think this is the most publicity and continued publicity that anyone as high regard as Keanu has ever really given in a comic book. It is so, I'm so thankful for it because for a long while, comic books have been looked at as a lesser form of, you know, entertainment, below movies, below TV, below novels. And I think it belongs right up there with them. It is the thing that most of Hollywood is using right now to find and mill out all the things that are on the big screen. If you only knew how many things that are on the big screen or coming to the big screen soon are from comic books, your mind would explode. Oh yeah, he's super excited too. You can tell he's not like, yes, and you should read my comic book because it's cool. No, it's like you can tell he had input in the book. He loves it. All right, this one I wanted you to pay attention to because it is Miles Morales number 30. And while they did kind of show his new costume in the last book when it resolved with his, I don't know if you're going to call them clones or not. Remember, he had evil Miles Morales that shows up. They gave that character a name, actually, instead of evil Miles Morales, which is much better. And so that is resolved largely. But this is his first time in this suit, and we get back to the super cute story of him dating, Robbie Robertson's daughter, who is also a super whatever, super something. So yeah, you've got new costume in here, and you got the date. It's adorbs. I guess I could have given that to you, although you might not have known who she was at all when she shows up. All right, this one, despite the fact that you can't see the word on it anywhere, is called Fame number 1. This is from a good friend of mine who owns a comic book shop, recommended this book to us, and I got connected with the creator, and they sent over a number 1 and number 2, so I wanted to read it. So and I did, and I love anything that actually has, you know, references to X-Files. Is the book a musical? Oh, no, it is not a musical. So this is definitely not for kids book, despite the fact that some of the covers look very cartoony. This one is about a character who is an alien who crash lands on Earth and then lets Fame go to his head and goes through all of the bad parts of Fame that you see from, you know, defunct musicians and Hollywood people. There's drug use and daytime hookups with prostitutes, and but it's all drawn in cartoon style, so it's great. I really didn't know what to expect, whether I could enjoy it, because it's, I mean, the the lettering and the art style is so different than what you see in, you know, regular comic books. It's great, but you just have to know that you're getting into an adult thing. Trying to think what else it's like. It's like trying to think. There was another one that was like a very disrespectful alien. It'll come to me if I think about it. Not at all. All right. Extreme Carnage. Omega comes out, and this one actually wraps up the storyline very nicely. All of the different forms of the symbiotes get together and battle it out, which is what you want. And you have 2 of them that come out of that. So I'll let you decide who doesn't make it and how they don't make it, because you know that doesn't mean a whole bunch. And it means a lot for each of them, honestly. For they do a very distinct separation between the person that they are and the symbiote, and that they can exist separately. So, Fame, you want to live forever. So don't miss this one. This one also wraps up the storyline with a absolute dun dun dun. This has got all kinds of triple dotness at the end. And Inferno, lest you think that this is a book that you should skip over because I'll write another story arc, just imagine that this is X-Men number 5 or Hickman number 10, because that's really what it is. It's Hickman writing the next part of the story arc that happens. We have this weird group that's shown up and has big how am I gonna say this? They have what are they called? Oh, if I look at the name of it, then I will not say the wrong word. Orcus. Orcus has shown up and has got things floating out in space. They are definitely anti the mutant kingdom. So they're coming to create all kinds of problems. There's a whole bunch of dissension. There's a character that you totally forgot about that was introduced in the very first book, I think House of X, that seemed to have lived 1,000,000 lives. Do you remember this person? Lived a whole bunch of lives and knows everything. You guys remember Mariah Taggart? But anyway, so she's back, and there's a lot of unplaces. Yeah, this is such a giant one. There's a lot of unplaces that happen in here. And what else can I say? Oh, there is a shakeup in the controlling factions on the island. So not everything is going to shake out and be okay. And last but not least, oh, golly, no, there's 2 more. I'm going to go fast. All right, the box number 2. I love the box so much. If you remember, the main character has control of this box. Then he's supposed to be able to like ask things to it or wish things to it. It's supposed to give him those things, but it never gives him the right stuff. Like he's asked for money and it doesn't do the right. Anyway, it's one of those things that feels very Pandora-y, or a sentient box that will give you what it really thinks you need. But at the end of the first book, a mafia guy shows up and says that box used to be mine and I want it back. In which, yeah, I'm sure he's not going to hand it over right away. But the box seems to obey this dude. What the heck? So anyway, this is a continuation of that story. The mafioso is still after the box, and the main character is still trying to figure out why the box won't do anything he says. And the box, you can find another rule about the box, about how it can transfer between people. It's not a very straightforward interaction, honestly. I'm more confused about how to give it to someone else than ever before. And that's good. And then this book, which has been, I think it's been sold out at a great many places already. So just be prepared for battle when you go in and try to get a copy of this thing. This is the Unborn #1. For people that love science fiction and kind of scary science fiction, like Alien or gosh, there was a cool Netflix one. It was like the ones that have like alien creatures you come across on planets that are all kinds of bad. So this is really about this group of astronauts that appear to be going to planets and trying to get energy, something to fill up their energy cores. And if they get finished, they can go back to Earth, I guess, or wherever they came from. And things go all kinds of sideways. And there's also a very big kind of like personal interaction story that's happening between two of the crew. And there's a lot of, if you like the Hickman way he writes, that whole like, regular comic book style, and then a whole page of like information or timeline, that this follows that kind of thing, which I could have read the extra stuff in this all day over and over and over again. All right, so I'm going to tag out Matt. Hannah's going to come up and give a review for your Glopple. Here she comes.
Huh? You run these up to max.
Oh, yeah.
I needed to put them in the other box, but I was lots of things going on today.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, the Glopple. I had no idea what I was in for. This is the Glopple. Goodness. It's the first book that I read, so I'm trying to so you meet this scientist that lives in Dallas, and he is a professor and a dean. Yeah, Matt, I liked it a lot. He has a plot to take over the world. He should start with probably just Dallas first, but maybe I watched too much Phineas and Ferb. If you like Phineas and Ferb, this is definitely one that you'd want to read. I don't want to say too much about it because everybody should totally find this. Yeah, take over the world. But yeah, exactly. The art style is just like this, and there's 3 total. So I can't wait to read the next 2. I'm excited. All right. I also read Human Remains from Vault. Yes, Blueberry Glopples.
Matt, you can totally put on your social media you just type it in so people can follow you, okay?
All right. I'm going to tell you about the snack though, because yes. So in this, the scientist creates a snack that's supposed to get all of the kids like addicted to it, so that way he can somehow take over the world that way. I mean, you get the children interested in your snack, and of course you can do whatever you want.
Sounds reasonable.
I mean, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he found the perfect flavors to put together. And then the outside is blueberry flavored. And then he puts cream on top. So it's berries and cream. Doritos. No!
Doritos, yum!
I do want Doritos now, though. All right. I'm going to do Human Remains. So, very first thing that right, yes. Kaboom! And that's where you get the Glopple. Who becomes his minion. But I don't want to say much else than that, just because you just gotta experience the Glopple. All right. Human Remains. Very first page of this book gives you a warning label as to why you should not exhibit any emotions.
Well, I'm out then. I exhibited all the emotions already today.
Yeah, same. Every day. I mean, you know. At least outside, you should not exhibit any emotions. If you're inside a small room, you're probably fine. Oh yeah. Definitely, if you like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Mega Man, you'll love the Glopple. Yeah. But this couple that we see on the front cover here, they get married.
Spoiler alert!
I mean, you know.
Oh wait, it's on the cover.
Yeah. With this ring, right?
So cute.
Trying to think of what else I can say that's not too spoilery. You see the different sides to what's going on the human side of it. Something happens when you exhibit emotions outside. That's where the blood and guts come in.
Such a cool name for a book, man.
I know. Yeah. You see like the super group of scientists and military and politicians all together, and how they're trying to deal with what's going on. And then you've got the people that you see of what happens when they exhibit emotions, or what happens when they know people that have gone through that. It's a little bit too gory for me, so it's probably fine for everyone else.
Oh my word.
I'm very sensitive. All right. From Behemoth, Turbo Kid, Apple's Lost Adventure. All right. There's a lot just to take in just on that front cover. This is giving you exactly what you need to know. What is going on in this world? When it takes place. I feel like every apocalypse book, if they don't automatically tell you right away at least a little bit of what's going on, it's a little harder for me to figure things out. This one was perfect for me because it gives everything the who this is, and I'm not gonna say just because you just gotta see it. And I don't remember her name. This is an Apple, but she's Apple's friend. And Apple he's like a kid. He's not like a little kid, but like he's a kid. And just trying to survive. And I'm gonna say this. I love the fact that they included the horsey stick.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Easy cosplay.
Right? Yeah. This one's the other gory book that I read, and it was just kind of like, it kind of surprised me. So it wasn't like the other one. I was like, okay, human remains, just based off of the other cover, I know it's coming. And this one, I'm like, okay, I know there's going to be probably some, but some of it kind of surprised me. So that one, just a heads up. But I loved the story, and I might just brave it for the for the story alone. But I really did like it. All right. From Red 5, The Verge, #1. This is Connie, and she's a detective, I think. I'm trying to remember I think so. For the NYPD. And all right, so yes, that's a samurai, and yes, that's a Viking. Yeah. In this New York, it's sectioned off, just like it is now. But instead of just being, neighborhoods and stuff like Manhattan and Queens, there's like Vikingstown and Little Thebes, and I think there's like a whole section with cavemen, and I'm not sure why they're there yet. You don't find out in this issue. A little bit of a spoiler alert, but like you don't know. So don't think you're missing anything when you read this and are just like, did I miss something? No, you didn't miss something. You're not supposed to know yet. I have no idea like what happened, what caused all of these groups of people to come to New York, but I can't wait to find out. You find out about Connie and her partner, and how they pretty much just go around, figuring out different crimes, because of course with all of these all of the people from different time periods. Oh, Kyle. There's gonna be more crime than normal, just because, I mean, you've got Vikings, like their whole thing is, getting their honor from pillaging, and some of these groups that did not get along in action, in history and everything, and now they're together in a smaller space.
Conflict.
It's great. I loved it. I cannot wait for more. I'm adding that one to my list for sure. All right, so Stranger Things. I'm not going to pronounce this correctly. Tomb of
Jubish. Clearly, that's exactly what it says.
When I'm not sure. I have no idea how to pronounce it. I have not been keeping up with Stranger Things, but this is going to be volume 4.
The new season is just dropped their trailer, so it looks really weird.
Yeah. Well, the comics have not quite caught up to the show, really, and they're not really like
not connected.
They're
anymore.
not really connected. They kind of are, but not exactly.
That makes sense.
It's you see more in the comic of like different characters than you saw in the show. That's from the ones that I read at the beginning. So, but this one has to do with Will, of course, on the cover, and how if you haven't watched Stranger Things season 2, this takes place after season 2. I don't think it's gonna cover season 3 because I've watched most of season 3. And this I don't make that connection yet. But Will and his mom are dealing with the loss of Bob. We miss Bob. I miss him. He was great. But you find out in this issue that Bob was one of the founding members of the AV Club. Will's mom, who I'm so bad with the names from that show. They were dating in season 2, and then he dies when they're fighting the demo dogs. Yeah. So this is after that. There's dates in here, but I can't really remember. Is Bob Red Guardian? I don't.
Oh, it's the same guy. It's the actor that plays
Yeah.
that part. You goofballs. No.
It's Sean Astin.
There you go.
Yeah. So he was in charge of the AV Club, and so he, you find out, had a bunch of maps that looked like D&D maps, but D&D was not a thing at that point in time, because at this point D&D is still pretty new. And so I think we're going to find out what's going on with those maps and what Bob's secret past was. I can't wait. That's my theory, but I can't wait. I'm going to do Batman versus Bigby, a wolf in Gotham. All right. Werewolf Tale in Gotham with Batman. I read this one a while ago. This one was pretty long, so I didn't get a chance to go back and reread it, but I loved this one. This is one of the ones that if you're looking for a shorter kind of Batman horror book, this is the one. This is the one that I'm recommending for this year. I will say this one kind of just drops you right in the story. You're going to find out more as the series goes on, but I cannot recommend this one enough. I loved it. And this is definitely my pick for the week from Scout. Honestly, I'm gonna rank this one right up with White Ash, and that's my favorite right now. So, yeah, yeah. So Corset. So, oh gosh, what was her name? We have our main character and her aunt, and they are at a fashion show at a fashion house. I want to say it takes place in, it could be future. I don't, it could be past. I'm not really sure, but the overall kind of aesthetic is like 1880s, I want to say. Maybe 1870s. But there's this fashion designer who his designs, everyone loves them. Every single thing that he puts out, everybody's like in love with. And but nobody's seen his face. Yeah. So this girl and her aunt are at this show, and she's trying to get closer to her friend that is a critic. He's a fashion critic, and he's really famous now. And she was an orphan. She's Willy Wonka of clothes, kind of, actually, minus the golden ticket. But they were best friends when they were kids, and so she's trying to get close to him, and accidentally ruins the fashion show. I haven't seen Cruella yet, but I'm definitely gonna go watch it after I've read this, because I do love Cruella de Vil. So, but so she ruins this fashion show, and so the designer calls to his assistant. One of his assistants is like, "Bring the girl to me. I need to talk to her." And she's like, "You're in so much trouble. You have to go talk to him." And that's where I'm gonna leave it for you to pick up. This one's a thick book, but the artwork is gorgeous. It's just like this on the cover. And I'm not sure if there's going to be more. I'm not sure if this is a one shot or not. I really hope there's more, but at the end, it could go either way. So, The Devil Wears Steampunk. I mean, yeah, kind of. Kind of.
Why not?
Yeah. It's definitely like steampunky. I really liked it a lot. Let me think. We've got that's all I did.
All right, I'm gonna take out.
Yep.
See what trades I can throw up real fast before the
Yeah.
end of the show. All right, everybody, just real fast. I'm going to go through all the cool trades that came in this week so that you are aware of them. Looks like Justice League Death Metal. I don't know if that's brand new or if this is restock for us. Superman Action Comics, The House of Kent. This great book I know is brand new. This is Maverick, which is the imprint of, I believe it's Vault. But don't get mad at me if it's totally not. Mad Cave also sounds right. Oh, Mad Cave. It's Mad Cave's imprint. New kids imprint or all ages imprint.
I'm so excited
This one. This one just looks adorable.
Yeah.
It has a feel of like somewhere in between manga and regular comic book. And it's the beginning for them, so embrace that new stuff for them. This is a new book called Verse. This is another Wonderbound book.
Wonderbound is Vault.
Wonderbound is the Vault one. That's why I got it wrong, because they both have W and M names.
Uh-huh.
So this one says, Fife lives in a world where magic is feared. Only the evil monsters known as the Veil use them. But when Fife discovers a young girl with mysterious powers, everything he ever believed to be true is turned on its head, forging a friendship that will shake the very foundation of their society. Fife and Nayetta take their first steps into an epic adventure through an unforgettable world. Very cool. And what else? This one looked cool. This is an Aftershock book called Party and Pray. It says, careful when looking for trouble. Trouble might find you first. Alan is used to being ignored by younger guys, so he hardly believes his luck when lithe, handsome Scott makes a move on him in a crowded club. But there's a wolf on the dance floor tonight, and he's hungry for fresh prey. That's a brand new book. For people that had a hard time finding all the individual books or want to keep theirs safe, haha. First trade paperback is out this week. The Good Asian has its trade paperback drop. I know that was been super popular. Fire Force number 24. It's a very popular manga. And as you know, manga is impossible to find right now. It's like the Holy Grail. Also, Devil's Red Bride makes its way to trade paperback. That is a vault title, and so does the Autumnal, which, by the way, look at this cover. They actually had this come out late because they had a hard time getting that approved. It actually got rejected by Amazon. So rejected by Amazon is good, right? And the first trade paperback for BRZRKR. Thanks so much for coming by, Matt. Make sure that you do leave all your social media links on so people can find you and you can support you. Matt is following his dream, and we're happy to help him find an audience. So this is BRZRKR. And last but not least, trade paperbacks out this week. This is called The Jewish Brigade. This is by a company called Dead Reckoning. And this one says, in the waning years of World War II, as the tragic plight of the European Jews was coming to light in ever more horrific detail, a Jewish fighting force known as the Jewish Infantry Brigade Group was born as part of the British 8th Army. Leslie Tolliver, a race car driver in the pre-war years, eagerly joined the all-volunteer force for a chance to fight with people against those who sought to murder them. When the war in Europe ends, and the savage continent sits on the brink of continental civil war from chaos, terror, and famine, Leslie and the brigade moved to Italy, a border triangle city perfect for covert action. While searching for Holocaust survivors, Leslie undertakes vigilante missions in Soviet-occupied Eastern Europe, hunting down Nazis on the run for both vengeance and justice. This looks like based on real events. That's pretty cool. I love real life war books. Makes me so happy to be able to read about history in the medium that I like so much. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us on Minute to Skim It. We super appreciate it. Do subscribe if you're watching us from YouTube. Super simple to do. Just hit the subscribe button. And if not, click the little bell or hit the reminder button. Or give us hearts or thumbs up and let us know we're doing a good job for you guys. We love doing this for you guys every week. And now, stay tuned for more awesomeness. Bye, y'all.